Hello everyone, welcome to Tier 1. If you were here from 20 minutes ago, we were just streaming Tier 2 and we were at Brazil and we are still at that very same track. But this time, Tier 1, no assists allowed for anyone. Completely no help, absolutely no help from the game. So it will be interesting to see how these drivers fare around this track. We do still have about a minute before we go into qualifying. So while we wait, I need to remind you all we are affiliate. I cannot speak English, my bad. We are affiliated with Rogue Energy. Please go to rogueenergy.com and use code PHX at checkout for 10% off of your order. That's code PHX at checkout for 10% off of your order. If you give me a moment, the session should be starting shortly, so we can go on board with the drivers for qualifying. It is rain today. Today we have Pineax. Yeah, let's go McLaren. Let's hope McLaren, Maverick and McLaren can get up there. Pineax, you better not turn into him, yeah? We want to see a turn 1 incident again. This is the Senate S's. But yeah, we do have torrential downpour for the race. We will see majority, if not all drivers, starting on the... I've already forgotten the type of tire. The Inters, thank you. The green wall tires, the Inters. So it'll be very interesting to see how they fare and when the cut-off period to pit onto the wet compound tires. It'll be interesting to see when they approach that period in time. What incident? I have no clue what incident you're involved in. Honestly, you're right. I don't know. My memory, I don't know what that is. But yeah, we are affiliated with Rogue Energy. I still need to order it. Don't tell Maverick. Please don't. But here we are now loading into the qualifying.
So
I
good,
am joined
but
here today in the commentators box with Ollie and WS. We do also have the surprise visit by our classic Kevin, who doesn't love Kevin here, and we also have Nadim, who's reserving for the first time in Tier 1, and I've told him strictly he can't be in here, but he still refuses to leave. Nadim, welcome.
guys, how are you doing?
I'm
Just
great.
happy to be here.
Uh-huh.
How much did he pay you, Darkness? How much did he pay you?
He didn't pay me a thing. You know what? I have the power.
Sure. Sure.
You know what?
I don't believe you.
You know what?
No, no. How dare you?
So here we are in for qualifying. Nadim, you better mute up if you're in the race. No talking in the box.
I will not talk.
Good, because I have muted you. We do now have...
Am I special in not being muted?
You're a commentator, so yes, I guess.
I'm
But here we go. We do have a few drivers
coming
out of the pits. Who do we have first? We have Queens Up coming out the pits in the Red Bull. First driver out on track with absolutely no... Honestly, I tried it. Funnily enough, I tried it for the first time on Brazil with no assists. It is terrifying. Like, I don't know how...
Brazil?
Because Brazil's a brilliant track. Who does not love the Brazil?
Really? You chose Brazil to be like, I'm
Brazil, their goat track. I would have preferred Jeddah. I love Jeddah, but I cannot do Jeddah without ABS because I can't do half the corners.
I'm not disagreeing with you that Brazil is a GOAT track. It's just, I'm surprised that you thought Brazil no assist first time was a good idea.
It was. I set a 108.
Oh,
no.
Okay.
108 was invalid. I think it was a 109 or 110 was valid.
Okay.
My biggest issue was locking up into turn 1. But here we go. We're gonna ride on board with Queens Up for the first hot lap of qualifying. Go Imogen, go. Yeah, let's see where Imogen can go. He is the Ferrari driver next across the line to start a hot lap. As Queens Up goes almost too much over the curve, finding themselves having to really catch on with the car. Down into 4th gear, beautifully onto the apex of the corner. Purple first sector, obviously. First car on the grid. Almost invalidating the lap, going a bit wide. going a bit loosey-goosey out of the corner into corners 6 and 7, where a lot of drivers have been having troubles putting the pedal to the metal down there and spinning their cars out, unfortunately, keeping it very close now to the curbs on the inside of this corner, almost losing the back end coming out of corner 9 there, now into 10 towards 11, apologies. Almost again losing the car, but keeping it stable, going onto the curbs, and he does eventually lose the car.
Doesn't hit the wall though.
But unfortunately does keep it out of the wall, and the Deem coming out onto the track, reserving in for the race, has already disqualified from the qualifying session. Nadeem,
are you gonna have to?
What's happened here?
I have no idea.
Alright, as we have Imogen the first across the line with a 1:08.6 now. We did in Tier 1, this was in Tier 2 previously, 20 minutes ago, with assists. I think our fastest lap was a 1:08.0. So it'll be interesting to see where these times will improve and which driver will be the first to go sub 1:08. Next across the line we have the AlphaTauri of Zolt with a 1:12. Next across the line behind that I believe is McLaren of Maverick, who dives into the pits. Unfortunately with an invalidated lap I can only assume those tyres are just dead, as we have the second AlphaTauri. Aiden to next across the line. Sinead, no surprise there, putting his car right on provisional pole with a 3/10 improvement. As his teammate Gusta, Alpine with a very strong lineup for the race today. Well, very strong lineup for the season, for the rest of the season. Now with an Alpine provisional 1-2, just 1.5 or 2/10, sorry, apart, splitting the two drivers. Next to come across the line, I believe that's Zach now starting his hot lap. Oh, there we go. Let's go with Zach going through the center S's now. Very careful on the throttle coming through the center S's. Coming up towards the DRS line. He does have 50% ERS, plenty of ERS coming down the straight with the DRS wide open. Down towards corner 4 and 5 now into sector 2. Very quick first sector now into a very tight straight. Very few overtaking opportunities over here. Down to a very long uphill, slightly curved right-hander. As mentioned before, many drivers have spun out and lost a lot of their time, lost a fresh set of softs from that corner, sticking very close to the curbs there. Still a very good lap so far, getting very close to the apex. Unfortunately, I think perhaps maybe a bit too wide for that apex there in corners 10, now through 11, approaching into sector 3, which is essentially just a very long straight with a couple kinks. Now pedal to the metal, deploying as much ERS as he got left. DRS line quickly approaching, now wide open, keeps a very close line to the wall, and across the line that is a 1:11.2. Very good lap, putting him up into 4th place.
That's a solid lap.
By the only Mercedes driver on the grid today, in fact. As we see now who is next across the line. We got Queens up to cross the line now. Let's see if they can put in a lap worthy of the top 10 or even the top 5. It'd be interesting to see where Queens Up can put his car. Definitely a driver to keep an eye on today. In fact, there's plenty. I mean, I say that there's plenty of drivers to keep an eye on today. A lot of good drivers here today. A lot of first timers as well. Nadeem, who unfortunately was disqualified at the start of this qualifying session, as the game deemed him backwards to the track. So unfortunately, he does find himself disqualified. Queens Up, very good into the first sector, almost losing the back end. Why does Cody
do that?
Losing the back end, coming out of corner 9 now, approaching corner 10. Beautifully keeping the car beautifully under control. Unfortunately, losing it slightly on the exit of the corner. Now approaching into sector 3, sector 2 of a 1:52.5, which I think is quite a reasonable middle sector. Now coming down towards the finishing line, he's got his DRS wide open now. ERS pedal flat out to the line. Will it be a 1? It's a 1:09.3, puts him up into 5th place. Very good lap. Puts him around, what is that, 2 or just over 200ths of a second behind Kemence. Next across the line, just behind, I think we have the Alfa Romeo of SMH now to cross the line for his outlap, starting his first hot lap here at Brazil for a dry qualifying for round 4. Very good turn in. Oh, unfortunate. he did have a decent entry into the first corner. Unfortunately, he does lose the rear end of the car coming into the second corner of the Senna S's. Just behind him, I believe, is the McLaren of Maverick. The team principal for McLaren is in the driver's seat today, as he has been for, I say that like he's never been in the driver's seat before. For McLaren, very low in ERS though, so it'll be interesting to
Magnus
see
is
what he can
losing his mind
do.
here, folks.
Unfortunately, it seemed like Maverick had a bit of understeer coming out of that corner, forcing him to go wide, abandoning that lap indeed. Just ahead of him, that was SMH going round. Who do we have? JP still yet to put in a valid lap for qualifying today, with his teammate currently sitting in 4th place. We got Imogen now coming towards the line. Is he? Yeah, he's going to go in the pits. Yep. People do have the option at the start of the race to choose what kind of collection of tyres they want. What's the what I'm thinking of? Tyre selection. So tyre selection that the majority of drivers will choose for qualifying today. Well, the only reasonable choice for qualifying would be the softer set of tyres in the compounds for the race, as we are starting the race in the wet. So it does not matter what tyre you start the race on, you will be coming out onto the grid for the race on the
inters. They're just going, yeah, at this point, they're just, I think everyone's picking the softs. They're going to use up all sets of softs as they can, because they can. They're not going to use them during the race, so why not?
Exactly. They've got 4 opportunities for 4 fresh sets of tyres to come in of the come out onto the track for qualifying. So we see Shanae putting in a new fastest first sector. Shanae on another flying lap so far into the first sector. Now keeping his car very stable, very well under control. It's surprising, like, I say surprising, it's Shanae. It's always going to be under control. He's incredibly quick. He is the GOAT. But very good car control so far into the second sector now, really close to the curbs there. Humia's car very well under control coming out of the exit of the corner now, finishing sector 2 with a 0.2 improvement now into sector 3. He will put the pedal down all the way as we have Hayden unfortunately retiring from the race, now finishing in P10. With a very tight line now to the wall. Let's see what Shanae can do. Can he improve? He improves the first sub 108 of the evening. We have a 107.965. Very good lap by Shanae. And I think we should start doing that for each season and try and improve each time. But I think I've never seen anyone in the F1 22 season put in a sub 108 lap. I think that is the Phoenix track record for Brazil during qualifying.
Is it actually? We'll look it up later.
I think it is, but I think it's something we definitely should do, because that was a very nice lap, very, very tidy. I think just behind him we do have his teammate Gusta. Let's see what he can do. Unfortunately, we did not see him for the first sector, but I think he might have had a very good tow down the main straight from his teammate Shanae just ahead of him, hitting the curb beautifully, going really well into the corner, getting as much speed as he can. Now into sector 2, he is 0.3 up. This is going to be a huge improvement. Will he take pole position from his teammate? There is Shanae giving his teammate a tow. This is brilliant team play by the pair of Alpine drivers now. DRS wide open for the pair, pulling his teammate all the way to the line. That is a 108.0. Unfortunately, not enough to take pole position from his teammate, but a brilliant viewing of what team play can do in qualifying here at Brazil.
I mean, even if he didn't take pole, but that's still an Alpine 1-2. That's still
provisional
really good.
Alpine 1-2. We still have the duo of JP and I keep saying McLaren, of Maverick, JP and Maverick, to come across the line.
JP
currently
is racing. Yeah, Maverick is Bruce McLaren. We know that.
So it'll be interesting to see if we can see a Alpine 1-2 and then a McLaren second row grid lockout for positions 3 and 4. JP managing to keep his car impressively tidy going through those corners on the curve. They're almost losing it as Queens Up now takes 3rd place with a 108.5, just taking the position from Imogen by a 100th of a second. I think that's Gusta getting out of the way now to let JP through on his hot lap. JP now coming into the 3rd sector with a, unfortunately, 2 seconds slower on his previous lap. I think perhaps this was an in lap that we're racing along with him before, but still, it was very tidy. As we do see him diving into the pits now. Who else do we have now on track? I think Queen's Up is on a in lap. I think Queen's Up and most drivers on the grid so far have only done 3 laps on their tyres. Or sorry, 3 hot laps on fresh tyres. So it'll be interesting to see who still has tyres left for the race. So we do have a new join. We've got Streamer Dead taking in a reserve position for Mercedes, sorry. There we go, there goes Queen's Up into the pits. Who do we have next? We got Commence currently on the grid. Our second Xbox driver on the grid. We do have crossplay enabled, so we do have all drivers across all platforms. Welcome to the server, welcome to race. As we see him go through into Sector 2, he's already got, I think it was a 2/10 improvement, if I remember correctly. If I read that correctly.
Yeah.
Keeping his car very well under control through the second sector now. Approaching into corner 10, where a lot of drivers we've seen avoid the inside curb and then have a great line out of the corner. Commence doing the same as every other driver before him. Now finishing the second sector with 7/10 improvement this time. If he keeps up the pace, will find himself in the top 5. Where can we see him improve even further than that? DRS wide open now, complete down to the line. Are we going to see him up into 3rd place? What a lap by Commence. The Alfa Romeo putting his car up onto the front of the second row. Brilliant lap by the Alfa Romeo. That was a promotion of, what, 9 positions? 8 positions comfortably? Brilliant lap. We now have Imogen next across the line, I think, maybe on a hot lap, potentially? No. Imogen actually on a second out lap, now going for a hot lap. Full battery into the center S's. Here we go. Dropping all the way down to the 3rd gear, upshifting up into the 4th gear, managing to keep his car under control and not invalidating the lap, keeping very tight to the curbs. Now across the DRS line, wide open. Here we go. Imogen into the 4th corner, finishing sector 1. Very stable indeed. Now into the very long straight, into a very sharp, I say sharp, very lenient / sharp. Oh, unfortunate to see that he has lost it coming out of that corner. Definitely got some improvement there possible as we see Maverick going across the line for a 108.8. I think now he's on his hot lap with a almost full battery. Here he goes, very good cornering, good, you know what, I give up on the center S's. He's got a very good toe in front of him as well. He's got the Mercedes driver, sorry, of Zach just ahead of him. Interesting to see what Zach can do for him. Now as he approaches, will we see Zach get out of the way, or are they on a hot lap as well? That's not even Zach, that is our new reserve driver. We've got the Streamer, sorry, who's currently in that seat there. McLaren, hopefully, Mercedes. Oh my god, what is going on with me today? Hopefully, Maverick did not lose too much time to the Mercedes ahead of him, but it does look like he has backed out of this race after this lap now.
How much sleep did you get?
I got plenty of sleep. It'll be interesting to see if 60% ERS will be more than enough for Maverick to make a second hot lap on these tyres, or will he pit? I do not think he'll have enough time to pit now. I think this is now his last chance to put in a better qualifying lap. Will we see the McLaren pair lock out the 3rd row, or will they remain in 6th and 7th place? Let's see as they go into the center S's now. Maverick keeping his car very stable, upshifting into 5th, up into 6th. Now towards the first DRS straight off of the line. Very little ERS though. It'll be interesting to see if this will be enough ERS to complete another hot lap now, already just 1/10 slower than his previous best. As we see the Aston Martin Dutch gamer getting out, Kevin Sadface, sorry, getting out of the way. Very little ERS. It'll be interesting to see if Maverick can save enough ERS in one lap, be able to make an improvement on his previous lap time of a 108.8 through the second sector, almost losing the back end coming out of the 9th corner, now through 10th corner, keeping his car as clear of the curbs on the outside there. Now into the 3rd sector with practically no more ERS. He's now also 1.5 tenths down. Will the toe of the car in front of him, his teammate JP, team orders, will this toe help him and improve his pace up
I
to the
think he's too
line.
far back.
Maverick, fortunately, still half a tenth off. No ERS was
Yeah.
a huge loss for him out on the track as we were
He was
Sinead.
too far back for that toe to be effective. Like
As we have Sinead now,
was it
I
like
think
close enough? Yeah,
Sinead preparing for his final hot lap. He's got 30 seconds. He's got plenty ERS in the
oh, yeah.
tank. Here we go, Sinead, our current provisional pole sitter, to
Hey,
the
why don't we
line
have
for a
Kevin
final
walk us
hot lap of
through this next
qualifying.
lap?
Will we see him improve, or will we see Gusta, who might be able to get to the line in time to be able to start another hot lap? Will they be swapping around? Be interesting to see if Gusta managed to make it. I'm not sure how much is left. Now Gusta into the pits. Here goes Sinead into the first sector, matching his first sector time now, coming into fourth and fifth corner, finishing first sector now, approaching the very short straight into the quick right-hander, uphill right-hander that catches a lot of drivers out, unfortunately, as Gusta now retires, hopefully securing his second place. We'll see if other drivers have faster laps in the bag there, as Sinead almost loses his back end coming out of the corner 9 now into 10, staying well clear of the curbs, but keeping a good speed into the next few corners. Now as he approaches end of sector 1, he's unfortunately 4/10 slower, so unless he can bring more than 4/10, if he gains more than 4/10 out of this lap, now he backs out. And I say unfortunately, he does back out. It is unfortunate that we don't get to see him improve his lap time, but he is the first driver, I believe, in the 2 or 3 seasons we've had F1 22 to set a sub 108 lap record. So that was very interesting qualifying. I didn't let anyone speak, I'm sorry for that, but there's a lot happening, a lot of drivers constantly setting new fastest laps, and to no surprise at all, we have a very strong lineup for Alpine, securing the first, the first first row, there we go,
Yeah,
that's the road.
they got a front row lockout.
First row lockout, and we
Which is
got 1
front row
second
lockout.
splitting the top 6 drivers, McLaren being the last there. Unfortunately, we could not see the 2 McLarens up on the second row of the grid, but they are definitely drivers not to rule out of this race. They are very quick. They do have a brilliant current season 2 defending champion race engineer, Lord Owl. So it'll be interesting to see what their race engineer can get from this race.
They're gonna do really well, I would think.
I would hope
But
so.
the thing is, you know what's interesting is now they're mid pack, which is really weird for them. Like they don't seem to have the best qualifying. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. It's always iffy. And then come race time, right? They just nail it. So it's really interesting to see. Um, and then there's Alpine, who, let's be real, front row lockout, pretty much almost guaranteed. And then you have almost guaranteed, race wins. So it's really interesting in that regard. They always do really well.
Oops, there we go. Here we go now as we wait for the race to start. We do have the rain out. Everyone will be fitting those green wool tyres. It'll be interesting to see if anyone's daring enough to put on the wets. But
I doubt it. Everything's
I
about to start
agree. I
winter.
highly doubt anyone will. Is there a red
If they
flag? I
is
did
there?
see a couple people disconnect, but I'm not sure yet. I've had several people disconnect now.
Oh yeah, yep.
I
That's a red
think,
flag.
yeah, everyone's back into the race room, so it'll be a red flag.
Yes,
Second
section is
red
red.
flag for tonight. So we will be right back with the race shortly. I mean, it happens, so it
Yeah.
happens. apologies everyone, but we do have a red flag. Fortunately, we had a driver who was not permitted to go up to tier 1. At Phoenix, we do have a rule where you need to have completed at least 4 races in a lower tier. So tier 4 is our lowest tier at the moment. And then once you've completed those 4 races in our lowest tier, you are then welcome to be promoted up. Of course, if you have the pace. And with tier 1 being our fastest, we need our it's a requirement for our drivers to have done the 4 races before they then get promoted. So please do hold on with us, do hang around as we wait to get the session started now. We have set the qualifying grid as the qualifying was set as it should have been before he joined. So now it's just a short waiting time. Words, I promise. But it's a short period of time now to wait before we get onto the track for the race, where, as I mentioned earlier, we will have every driver starting with the green wool tyres, everyone on the inters, for we do have torrential downpour for the duration of this race. Last race we had, for Tier 2, the rain coming in around lap, I think it was, I want to say 9 or 10, about a third into the race, just after a third into the race. Or if that's just before a third into the race. Sorry, I'm struggling to do maths now today. But it will be interesting to see when people think the cut-off will be, or the switch over for inters to wets, and who will be able to pull off some good laps. We did have a few penalties in Tier 2, with Tier 1 being our only tier with absolutely no assists. It certainly will be interesting to see who comes out on top. We do have a Alpine lockout. For the front row, we've got Shanae, shock horror Shanae on pole position. It's honestly not astonishing, but it is great to see. Very strong lineup from Alpine with Shanae up on pole with a sub 108 lap with his teammate just behind him. Unfortunately, the tow provided by Shanae during Gusta's hot lap was not strong enough to put him up on pole, but they do still secure that second lockout. I think third place was then Commence in the Alfa Romeo, fourth being Imogen in the Ferrari. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head whilst I wait for the lobby to load. Fifth place, I believe, was Queen's Up, and then we had the McLaren pair with JP just ahead of the team principal Maverick, up into 6th and 7th place, and unfortunately I cannot remember anyone else's positions behind that. Honestly, I'll be surprised if I got that top 7 accurate. But as we do wait, I will just remind you all, we are affiliated with Rogue Energy. Use code PHX for 10% off of your order at checkout at rogueenergy.com. Now, if I go over to the game, you'll see we do have the drivers on the track now, starting the formation lap. Finally, everything is underway. And for today's race, I am joined in the commentary box by our resident, Kevin Sadface, the most amazing driver on the grid,
And the
along
most
with
amazing
Nadim
commentator.
making a surprise appearance in our Tier 1 race tonight, just going in reserve for his own team, the Aston Martin team, as we see Shanae unfortunately having a bit of a spin trying to warm up his tyres during this formation lap. We also have Ollie and Joe, the duo who love to stick together for a lot of their races. It's always nice to see. And then also we have, to round off the last person, we have WS.
Hello, hello.
So, well, that was nice to see Shanae already disqualified right to the front of the line.
Yeah.
Now we've got Gusta leading the
lovely.
pack during this formation lap. I wonder what Shanae was trying to do. It was a very curious approach to warming up the tyres there, for certain. As we see, now Gusta going into the sponsorship barriers, the styrofoam barriers. That's a Rolex gone. I guess Rolex doesn't sponsor F1 anymore. Thank you, Gusta. I guess I'm not gonna get a new watch.
I mean, somebody got a new watch today, but that was the Rolex 24 in Daytona.
Okay.
Yeah.
As we now see our drivers line up on the grid, Shanae already patiently waiting. Though I think Posse made a very good point in our Tier 2 race. Although you can warm up the tyres. You still should start the race after being disqualified during the formation lap to still start with a tyre temp around, I think he said, or someone mentioned 65, 75. Basically the perfect temp, almost perfect temp to start the race, as we do start now for the race. Here we go. We have the 5 red lights. Very slow stop. There we go. And we are off. The 2 Alpines with a brilliant start so far, keeping 1 and 2. We've got Commence just on the outside there of Gusta going into the center S's. Outside line, very difficult to keep, but he sticks his car there. He does fight for it, coming out into the center S's. There does seem to be potentially a small collision at the back. We do have a severe collision for Aiden between him and his teammate, unfortunately, giving him a 5-second time penalty. But we have the top 7 coming into the second sector now, remaining all in their same positions. Slightly further back of the grid, we do see a couple drivers going wide. I believe that was Zach going slightly wide, coming out into
quite a few drivers going wide in the back.
We've then got SMH now right on the gearbox of JP. 1.3, 2 seconds ahead for Shanae. Honestly, he's gone. He's long gone. As we see now, SMH very close. Everyone sticking close very well, coming now in towards the third sector.
Hey, Darkness, should we end this race? Shanae is already going to win. I'm going to go head out.
Sure. No, Kevin needs to win first. We do have Kevin in here, so we need Kevin to win.
We'll make sure...
ignoring the
Kevin,
pit stop strategy that comes up as we see that Alpha Tauri's fighting for position. The game thinks you'll be pitting for the intermediates, but no, you will not. As we still have the Alpha Tauri's fighting the back. Shanae with a fast lap of 1:22.8. In fact, this will be a one-stop for inters to wet, so it'll be interesting to see which drivers pit first, who pull the trigger first for those stops.
Is there another collision dealing with the Alpha Tauris?
I think the Alpha Tauris are just having a bit of a tussle between the two, but neither of them were damaged, fortunately, as we do have them tussling again. But further ahead, we've got Maverick.
Whoa!
Maverick was right on the gearbox of... Oh, sorry, Maverick was on the gearbox of JP, and Maverick takes the position.
Spin.
No, wait,
There's also the spin in the in the 13th. I know it's way back there, but still,
so much.
That is.
And Queen's Up unfortunately goes wide, coming onto the track. I think there was contact between him and JP, unfortunately, with an unsafe release between the two drivers. Now, as we see them going through this corner 10, sorry. Now with the Red Bull drivers splitting the two McLaren drivers, be interesting to see how they can do this. With JP still right on the gearbox there of Queen's Up, was right along with JP. Very good driving, still managing to keep his position. Maverick gaining a position, unfortunately, from Queen's Up going a bit wide, but still a position up nonetheless. Shanae with a 5-second improvement on the fastest lap, of course, from the first lap to this lap. Now with a 3-second gap in the lead. Honestly, Shanae just on another level, but we'll have to see the pit stop strategy that comes out for Alpine. So we now see JP coming around the third corner down towards the second DRS straight on this race, but unfortunately will be disabled for this race. JP tries to look down the inside for a move. He does stick his car there. There was space for either driver. Queen's Up coming back on track safely, and they are still side by side going into corners 7, 8, and 9 now. Very close, very good driving between the pair of drivers there. JP, of course, currently, I want to say, I'm not gonna try and guess constructors or championships right now. So there's far too much going on track. As we have Nadim, a surprise appearance by Nadim in Tier 1 tonight after racing in Tier 2 as well. He is now finding himself 3 positions up into 10th place currently, closing the final position for points, provisional points in this race. Unfortunately, as we do see him go slightly wide. But now as we see Nadim approach the line, Shanae is now 4 seconds ahead. Shanae is just gone. It'll be
Shanae does not exist.
He's out the picture now. It'll be interesting to see how the pit stops will come into work for him. It'll be interesting to see if they at all see if we see a double stop at any point. We did have that before in our Tier 2 race. As we now go ahead.
You know what's interesting? With the, you
So we
know,
see Kevin,
not
unfortunately, in the pits. Kevin, no. Go
there's
on.
also another stopped car on track. Is that a retirement? Maybe for the Alpha Tauri in the back. Nope, he's gotten moving again. Okay, that works. But it's interesting the fact that like you have Shanae, right? But he's so far ahead, it's almost impossible to just to catch up to him, unless he makes a mistake, which is going to be impossible. So we'll see how the next couple
No, a couple
minutes of the
days.
race go. Couple days, yeah. Haha. The next couple minutes of the race go, but uh, again,
As
lack
we
of
see a
sleep.
driver, we've got Hayden crashed out on the middle of the track, unfortunately. He
Oh yeah,
is out of this race,
called it.
coming out into the third sector. I mean, it is a very tough
Called it.
corner. If you go too quickly through that corner, you
Well, he
do
had
have
stopped.
a very full tank of fuel. It is very
He
easy to spin
stopped
out and
before that.
lose control of the car, unfortunately. That is
I don't know if
Hayden
you saw
out
that,
of the
but,
race for AlphaTauri.
beforehand he had stopped beforehand on track due to I don't know exactly what. So I'm not super surprised he did retire the car. I'm not sure if he crashed into a wall or something, but yeah.
Probably had heated tires from a spin that maybe he had before.
Oh, were they overheated tires? Okay, interesting. But that I guess makes sense of why he might have spun and crashed. So there you go. The more you know.
As we see Commence now really up on the gearbox Augusta.
Is he going to
Will
make
we
a move?
see a move between the pair? They do still have loads of ERS between the two drivers. Commence managing to keep his car very well stable out of the corner,
Oh,
sticking his
getting
car really well close, but I think Gusta is just managing to pull away. Not even
nice
using, but I
job,
think Gusta
Gusta.
has the setup for straight line speed. Be
Or
interesting
he's
to
maybe
see
burning
if
some ERS.
Commence...
Is
no,
he
he's
using
not. He's not
ERS?
burning anything.
Oh,
So he
Oh
had...
wow.
It was a really good setup for straight line speed there. As we see
very good.
JP takes
And
a
Queens.
position on Queens up into the down the inside into the center S's. Do we
Nice
see
job,
enough space
Oh,
JP.
the
between the two
collision.
drivers? Unfortunately,
Oh,
I think there was a collision
forces him
there
wide.
between the two.
Oh, did
There's
JP
just not
spin
enough
or
room
crash? Yeah,
around
JP
turn
JP
two.
spun.
was not. I believe JP was not provided enough space, unfortunately, on the outside there into the second corner. I
He
would
did.
not be surprised if we see a report, but we do see SMH, the Alfa Romeo, right on the tail of Queens up after that incident. Now 0.2 behind.
There is just not enough room to overtake around turn two on this track.
Yeah.
I mean,
Not a position
he
where you
almost
want to
pulled
be.
what Hamilton did years ago in
Yeah.
21, but it's very
Yeah,
tough.
but
It's
those,
also in the rain, so traction and grip is very low.
you're also forgetting that 21 the cars had slightly more grip when it came to the actual
We've seen it
track
done
when
in
you're
Tier 2,
racing it.
so it's definitely possible. We see
Yeah.
Commence is going for a
Zoltz,
move on Gusto.
Oh,
and
nice.
we see Zoltz
Yeah.
making a
Nice.
move around Zach as well, now promoting himself up into 9th place. Commence right alongside Gusta coming down the main straight. Is he going to have enough ERS to possibly make the move, or is he going to stick his car
Oh,
behind? He stays behind. Certainly has the
nice.
pace, though, to keep his car on the gearbox of the Alpine driver, along with Imogen right on the gearbox of Commence. As we see
Shanae is
SMH.
almost 7
What's happened
seconds ahead
here?
of
SMH.
everybody.
We've got Queens up, making a move around the outside into the center S's. He's now a car length ahead of SMH. Brilliant move by the Red Bull driver there, with now JP
Nice
right
job.
on the tail of SMH there. It looks
Is he
almost
gonna
as if he
make a
was...
move? Oh, is there contact? Is there contact?
I
No,
don't think there
not
was contact.
quite.
It was very close, very on the limit
It
driving
looked
between the
like
two
it, but
there, but it was
nice
still
driving, I
very
would say.
good
Yeah,
driving.
nice
SMH
job.
finding himself down a position as Queens up makes a very good move into the center S's. Now if we go slightly ahead, we still have Commence
Welcome,
right
Aisling.
on the gearbox. It's surprisingly coming close to that level of it's slow in this race, because everyone's in that gap. They're trying to close that gap to the car ahead of them, but they can't use up everything they've got just yet. There is still another 30 laps of this race. Still plenty to happen as we have JP 0.1 second behind on the gearbox of SMH. Are we going to see a good exit from the McLaren
Oh,
driver? Is he going to have enough speed out of that corner to make a move and promote himself back up into 7th place? Sorry. As he does keep his car very well close behind the car. ERS deployed as SMH now goes into the pits. JP finds himself back up into 7th place on the gearbox of Queens Up. Will we see a fight between the two drivers? It'd be interesting to see. I would like to see a good fight between the two again. They always do fight quite. I say they always fight quite well. We did unfortunately see a spin from Queens Up and JP, but
I'm surprised
hopefully
that SMH
it's just
went into the
it's a
pits.
matter of lack of grip. It wasn't a driver pushing the other driver off of the track. As we see Queens Up now going slightly wide, JP will be able to gain a lot more time to Queens Up from going wide there. Are we going to see him move into the second sector, or is he going to stick behind Queens Up going very late on the brakes? Fortunately, I think Queens Up potentially might
Oh, he went
might have
wide.
had damage. It seemed like he couldn't slow down in time for that corner. As JP now finds himself up into 6th place, now right behind his teammate, 13 seconds behind Maverick in 5th place. Just ahead in 3rd place, coming towards the pit straight, we've got Commence still right on the tail of Gusta, not losing him at all during this race. It's not a matter of, I think, someone's mega delayed. I think WS is watching the stream from Twitch.
I have no idea what you said. You broke up. I have no idea.
So we see now Commence. Fortunately, I think that is Commence now lapping Kevin, our resident commentator who's always here with us. Unfortunately, Kevin, no! I didn't even say anything and you had a spin coming out of that corner, out of corner 5. Very unfortunate to see.
Stop.
But
why
I
are
didn't
you
say a
cursing
thing.
people?
I didn't curse him
Why are
at
you
all.
cursing?
We will see
Yes,
what
you
happens afterwards.
did.
Now, if we go slightly ahead, we've got Queens Up 0.4 seconds behind JP. Still in this fight.
You cursed him by switching to his viewpoint. That's all you had to do.
As Queens Up struggling to break in
Thank
time
you,
for that
Lobster,
corner.
for supporting me in this.
Completely struggling for that corner. Fortunately, Queens Up unable to make it. I think either I can't quite work out what's happening to Queens Up here. It's very unfortunate to see that he's struggling now through these final few corners of Sector 2. But hopefully it is just merely overheating tyres. It is very much possible after having a spin. If you don't cool down your tyres, especially in the rain, you will have this happen to you. And it's not fun to drive in at all. As we go slightly ahead, we do have Imogen now with a pretty good line into the center S's now, putting the pedal down. Unfortunately, we see SMH coming out of corner 3 down towards the RS straight, finds himself DNFing from this race. Now Imogen coming up towards Commence, almost looking down the inside for a move, but not close enough just yet to make a move.
Lobster, he didn't
Lobster, I didn't do a
anything.
thing. I just spectated him to see who was the lapped car. Unfortunately,
That's
it was
exactly
Sadface,
what
and
he
I said
did, though.
nothing at all.
Yeah,
So
but
we
you
now
spectated
have
him. That was the
only
point.
3. We only have 1 battle on the grid today so far. I say today, so far. Now approaching 1/3 into this race, as we have a 3-way fight for 2nd place. Gusta just not being able to pull away as much as his teammate
Should we just start
Shanae
betting on?
has managed to do to Shanae. I've mixed up my words there. Apologies. As Imogen goes for a move down the inside into the final corner. I say the final corner, into corner 12. A brilliant move by Imogen, but unfortunately did not get the traction out of the corner. ERS completely being dumped. Is he going to be able to make the move on this pit straight? He has a brilliant exit, and there he goes, round the outside. Imogen now finds himself up into P3,
Nice
into the
job.
center S's. Very beautiful move, very daring move down the inside into the 12th corner of this track, into the 3rd sector. But still a very good move indeed. This does help Gusta a lot now, pulling a 2-second gap to the cars behind him. Commence now, unfortunately, with very little ERS compared to Imogen just ahead of him, finds himself now demoted to 4th place. Slightly further back, our next closest battle, we have Queens Up, the AlphaTauri, the only AlphaTauri, unfortunately, left on the track today. We've got Zoltz in 8th place, slowly catching to Queens Up ahead of him in 7th. Finding himself moving up 3 places from the race start, starting from, was that 11th place. So a pretty good drive indeed by the driver in grey. Commence now approaching the 12th corner. He does have a bit more ERS, but unfortunately not close enough to make any move on Imogen ahead of him, but he does get a good exit out of the corner. He is right on that gearbox still. Will he deploy an ERS? Will he attempt a move on Imogen? Imogen with double the amount of ERS though. Be interesting to see. No, I think unfortunately Imogen does have a much better setup. It would appear for straight line speed. Was not using any ERS there and was able to pull away from Commence in P4. Slightly further back, the aforementioned Schultz is catching, and he is catching quickly. Queen's up now with an AlphaTauri, the sister team to Red Bull, right on the tail. Schultz now finding himself with no ERS, but now within half a second to the Red Bull driver. Shanae has not paid me to say anything. Actually, I tried to pay Nadim to win ahead of Shanae, and if he did that, I would retire from management. So there are still 24 laps to go in this race. It'll be very interesting to see if Nadim does manage to make up 9 places, find himself up into first place. As we see results with a brilliant exit out of the 4th corner, very close between the pair.
That's very important.
Be interesting to see if Queen's Up manages to keep his line. He does. I think my assumption of Queen's Up's problem, was just down to tyre temps being far too high. As we see now, Zoltz managing to keep his car perfect into that second sector, now approaching into corners 10, now into 11. Queen's Up going very wide. There goes Zoltz down the inside. Does he keep the move? Does he keep the move? Does he keep the position? He does. More than 2 car lengths ahead. Very good move by Zoltz indeed. Now finds himself up into 7th place. Up 4 positions. Very unfortunate start for Queen's Up to have found himself starting from 5th, now down to 8th. But we have seen drivers make some tremendous drives and make it from last to first, so I would not be surprised to see if someone pulls that off today.
Hey,
so we now hit the
you should switch the camera to Zach. See what happens. Lobster, if you're right, I will be very.
Please see Zach now cross the line, setting a 1:23.233. Very good lap by the Mercedes driver. Very slow, very tentative cornering into the center S. Now coming out into turn 3. Unfortunately, having a snap of oversteer. Having a snap of oversteer out of the center S's. Very unfortunate to see. Now, as we see, the only close battle on track will be between Commence and Imogen. Whilst we now approach the window of pitting, we are expecting torrential downpour, heavy rain to come in towards the latter part of this race. So we will see drivers hopefully soon pitting on for those wet tyres. It'll be interesting to see what happens. We see Nadim now, unfortunately. Nadim is the 3rd car to fall victim in this race and now finds himself retired, unfortunately spinning out of control in corner 5. So it is now 10 drivers left on the grid.
There's an important question for you.
Right.
The question is, do you have, this is my question. Do you have F1 car models, yes or no?
No.
Boo, that ruins that theory.
Queen's Up, unfortunately, is now the first driver of this race, now coming into lap 14, to have received a track limits penalty. 3 seconds to the Red Bull driver there. Very unfortunate.
I would say that. Yeah, that's fair.
I have no F1 car models in my room.
But we were hoping that you had, one maybe of each team or something.
Well, as
and
a
that's what you used to curse the drivers. Yeah, exactly. As a voodoo doll.
No, I've got Star Wars, I've got the Greek god of Poseidon, and I've got Toothless from How to Train Your Dragon. Got a motorbike.
It's the Poseidon.
I've got a Ferrari. I've got a Millennium Falcon. I've got everything that is completely unrelated to the real known universe. Okay, I say that. There's a bike on my desk. That's from the real universe.
Then Lobster. It's black magic at that point. If he's not using voodoo magic, it's black magic.
I have to say, I'm very impressed to see that we are now approaching 3 laps off of halfway through into this race, and we've not yet had any drivers pit for those wet tyres. We do have. We do have Kevin at the back of the grid, currently sitting in 10th place, securing himself 1 point on those wet tyres. But unfortunately, I do not believe those wet tyres are doing him any good. Does appear as though
clearly not. He's a minute and 15 seconds down.
He did, yes, but he has had to pit a lot earlier than everyone else. He pitted on like the 9th lap or something like that. So him being a minute down can be very unfortunate circumstances.
And Lobster, I agree. It's definitely black magic. There's no other way to describe it. It's just he can just do that.
Windows, go away, please.
I saw that. Yeah, it also muted you for a minute for some reason. I don't know what happened. Is darkness allergic to sunlight? I don't know. Are you a vampire?
I don't know, am I?
I live on the other side of the world from you, dude. I don't know.
Well, I guess you'll never know.
Or will you?
I'll DM Maverick later to ask. He'll know for sure.
He's never seen me before.
Oh, fair enough.
No one has.
Exactly.
Then we're going to assume that you are. Okay.
It's 2022, bro. You can't assume.
We are going to assume you are.
As now, Zach, unfortunately, is the second driver to fall victim to track limits with 3 seconds now.
Because no, I haven't cursed anybody. It's only been you every time.
I've not cursed anyone.
Really? Let's see. Who you've cursed? This one's you've cursed. Zach. You cursed Kevin.
Aisling, sorry I didn't see your message there. I was talking far too much, but welcome. Yes, go Maverick indeed. I'd love to see Maverick up on the podium. It's been a while since Maverick's been on the podium. It'll be interesting to see where he finds himself now after this race.
I wonder if it's the Mercedes powered units are sensitive to your black magic.
Who knows?
Because they're both Mercedes powered units. But we're watching a Ferrari one right now, and you don't have any problem with that one. We can't set up a witch hunt, Lobster. I wish we could, but we can't. We need darkness around.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
Yes. It's Maverick has hosted a lobby, so I can only hope and assume that the weather has been set right. It is set on approximate. We do run approximate forecast accuracy here at Phoenix SimSport, which does add a huge level of uncertainty when it comes to the changeover period for the tires and for the weather. Sorry, not for the tires. But it could be out of a rush. We did have to red flag the race, unfortunately, after qualifying, which set us back around about half an hour, 25 minutes to half an hour from when we usually start the race. So it could potentially be a mistake, but I do trust Maverick got the settings right. And didn't make a same mistake I did with Ollie today for Tier 2, where we accidentally forced ABS to be off, so all of our drivers were locking up into the first corner and basically not being able to make it out of the pits. So it was very unfortunate to see. But no, I trust that Maverick's got the settings right. I think it is set right. It's just drivers are very lucky to have it quite clear for the time being. But I think we definitely will see some blue wall tires towards the end of the race.
Hey, should we... Lobster, do we need to test out the theory that only Mercedes-powered units react to darkness as magic?
It's not happened to either McLaren. As we see Zolt's coming down towards
you put a protection spell on McLaren. I don't know what to tell you.
Okay. As Queen's Up goes really... I say really wide. Fairly bit. Here we go. Shanae pulling the trigger. Talk about the weather. I think this either could be the wet weather changeover time as they go for a double stack, or it could be... There it is. It is wet weather. Wet weather tires on for Shanae.
Why am I not seeing rain?
Wets. As we see Imogen now taking the lead of the race, coming out of the Senna S's. We have Shanae Gusta making the two-stop work really well. I don't think he lost any time there to his teammate ahead of him. JP and Maverick also going for the two-stop, fortunately with that 19-second gap, so comfortably able to make the two-stop work. Now leaving, I believe, that is just Imogen, Zoltz, Queens, Zach, and Kevin to pit, but Kevin did pit earlier in the race for those wets. So yes, we now have 4 drivers on the grid left with those very old, very worn out Inters. So we now approach that pit window for the for the wets.
I
We go
don't
slightly
think
ahead.
so,
We've got
Lobster.
Gusta
I don't
now
think so.
0.4 ahead. Kem took over Gusta
Quite
in the
possible.
pits. Oh yeah, he did. Kem managed to come out of the managed to come out of the pits and have a quick enough stop. So I guess Gusta might have actually lost time to the double stack. That's a very good point, actually, Pulsar. Thank you. I didn't actually quite notice that. As we now have Imogen, Zolt, Imogen, Queen, and Zack pitting, but we have Zolt not pitting. Zolt is
Yellow
still on
flag
those green
sector
tires.
2.
I'm
It's a
very
McLaren.
confused there, as we see a
It's a
McLaren of
McLaren.
Maverick, unfortunately, having a bit of a spin on those wet tires coming out of what corner is that? In 11 into 12, just starting the third sector. Now, as we have Imogen coming out of the pits, will he find himself just ahead of the Alfa Romeo? Will the Alfa Romeo be ahead? I think Imogen will be out just ahead, potentially. No, they come out side by side into the fourth corner. Who will come out in front?
Oh, and the
Imogen
Alpine
with the
right
inside line,
behind them
unfortunately,
too.
though,
Gustav is right
not
behind him.
with the grip to take the position. Second place commenced, now finds himself up into second place. Very close driving, as we now see Zolt finally into the pits. Sick and hard of those Inter tires. Sorry, I couldn't get the words out for me there. Very good driving, though, from Commence, managing to go for that pit stop, managing to actually grab himself a place. He managed to first pick up a place on Gusta in the pits, coming out of the pit stop very quickly, and then managed to make a very good outlap to then take the position from Imogen. Unfortunately, Imogen could not come out of the pits and keep that position down the inside into the fourth corner. Now, as we look, we've got we've got Gusta, Imogen, and Commence, all three drivers fighting for second place. Three drivers fighting for second place, and Imogen, having only pitted one lap ago, stuck in the middle of that fight. Be interesting to see if we have a look. We've got Imogen, who I believe has the most ERS. Can we get some moderators, please, to remove
I
that?
got you. I got you.
But yeah, we've got a three-way fight now. It'll be interesting to see what will happen for them.
I saw those immediately.
one
I was already on it. I was already on it. Oh, I see it. Oops, missed one. Sorry. Thought I got them all.
As we see the Mercedes of Zach coming off of the racing line, he is being blue flagged for these three drivers, fighting for P2. Very close battle between them all. Be interesting to see how they do.
Hey, are these the ones that just popped up? These new?
Yep, those are bots.
Are they following? I know they're bots. I'm saying, are they following it all? Or no.
No,
If not,
they're just bot
okay.
accounts.
Then I'm banning them. I was just making sure before I did anything.
As we now again find that stale period of the race where it's going to be quite quiet now, as Imogen unfortunately goes quite wide coming out of the first corner, finding himself now down into position 4. If we have a look now at the penalties, you've only got 3 seconds for those drivers there. Zolt, with the most positions gained so far in this race, finds himself from 11th place up into 7th place for this race.
There we go. Took care of it.
Current gap to the leader, we've got Shanae with 13.5 seconds ahead. A very comfortable lead right now to the driver behind him, Commence. See Imogen now deploying slightly, trying to close that gap to Gusta ahead of him. No penalties so far for the top 7. Touch wood, you know, I've not cursed them now, the top 7. But we will see Will these drivers be able to close the gap? Will Imogen be able to put his Ferrari up on the podium position? Or will it be a Alpine 1-3 here at Brazil for the 4th round here at Phoenix Simsport?
Don't know.
Apologies if it has gotten a bit quiet, but there is not that much happening on track now.
I mean,
It
I
is
mean,
it
it's
is
the first
that
time-
stage of the race where a lot of the drivers now just need to kind of keep focused, keep consistent with their lap times, and make it to the end of the race. Although having said that they need to keep up their consistency, we do see Imogen coming out of the 12th corner. JP with a 10-second time
10
penalty for corner
seconds?
cutting.
That's
Where
a
is he
big
corner
time
cut?
penalty.
That is huge. I can only imagine potentially he might have lost his braking zone, in which prompted his inability to make the corner, which would have given him the 10 seconds. But it'd be interesting to see
Will we have
in the reports for
might
that.
remove that? Yeah,
We'll
I'm
have to see in
assuming
the
that might be
reports.
removed.
As Queen's
Right.
up now is the 3rd driver to have received a track limits penalty, 3 seconds now to the Red Bull driver. As we still follow on with Imogen, 0.7 behind, he is very consistent with his lap time, staying within 0.7 seconds as they reach into the 2nd sector. But when they reach towards the 3rd sector, he finds himself 0.3 behind, so it'll be interesting to see. He does have the setup for the cornering, so potentially could we see him get a good corner out of the... Which corner is that? 12th corner. He does have plenty of ERS Gusta with 49%. Unfortunately, Imogen now out of 1 second. Dare I say, I thoroughly enjoyed Tier 2 more than this. I would have thought Tier 1 would have so much more excitement. Then again, it is a race in the rain. It is a lot of being extremely careful with your throttle, extremely careful with how you brake into the corners, as it can be the reason that you retire from the race. So, no, it can be a slow race, but it's a very careful game.
Yeah.
Anything can happen.
I was about to sneeze there and did not sneeze.
Oh, it snuck up on you, giving you this impression that you're going to sneeze.
Yep, that's exactly what happened.
Who doesn't love those kind of sneezes? They are the worst kind of sneezes.
And,
Why are we talking about sneezing now? We've got 11 laps of the race and we're talking about sneezing.
Well, what else is there to talk about?
Yes, we are great commentators. We talk about sneezing. We answer the important questions. Do you hate those sneaky up sneezes? That was English. Jesus Christ, what's wrong with me?
In our defense, what is there to talk about?
Calls.
Well, we've got the season break next week, so we can talk about that. We will hopefully have ourselves a nice collection. I say collection, sorry. We might hopefully have ourselves a nice variety of races. Yeah. All drivers are welcome throughout the grid, regardless of what tier you're in. We're just going to do some open lobbies, have a bit of fun.
I'm also going to plug the AMS2 league in our, Automobilista 2. We are going to do some fun races over there and try some stuff out if you would like to join.
We do have a Discord invite link on the About page. You'll also see it on our server, on our Twitch banner as well. We do have the custom link, so you can join there. We do have... So what do we have? We race in F1 22, 21, and 2020. PC2, AMS2, and ACC. I believe currently our ACC drivers are voting for an endurance race, whether it be 2 hours or 3 hours. And regardless of it, I am not going to enjoy it. That's going to be very tiring to have to compete in 2 hours behind the wheel instead of our standard 15 minutes qualifying and 45-minute race, though ACC is always a lot of fun. And compared to F1, it is far, far harder to race around. you will find yourself struggling as well. As fortunately, as we now see, I think a yellow flag came out for Commence. Now, Commence with Gusta 0.3 seconds behind. Commence dumping as much as that ERS, understandably so. He's got to defend like a lion to keep that second place
Lobster
from
Darkness is
Gusta.
a wizard.
As we
He's a
now see
dark
Gusta
wizard.
looking to the outside, he does try to make a move around the outside. He does keep his car there, right alongside, each keeping each other, or giving each other space. But Imogen finding himself a brilliant line,
Nice and
potentially
close.
making a move on Gusta behind. We do see Imogen catching slowly. Does he make a move? He tries to go for the outside move. Unfortunately, finds himself in the grass. So, unfortunately, cannot make the move. Commence going slightly wide there, out of the corner, now into the second sector. Down the straight, Gusta promotes himself up into P2. And now Commence is down into P3, still on the podium step, but finds himself in a sandwich. He has got to fight ahead to Gusta. He's got to fight ahead for the second place, or he's got to defend behind him to Imogen, who's now 0.7 seconds behind. Be interesting to see now what happens. I'm very curious to know what happened to Commence. It was very unfortunate to see that all of that time he gained over the past few laps had gone in a second. Now as Commence tries to push a little too much out of the corner there, out of corner 12. Now 0.2 behind, he is deploying as much as he can. Gusta the same as well. Are we going to see a move from the Alfa Romeo driver? Is he going to have enough speed to potentially go for a move? He is far too far back. Fortunately, as we do see a slight tap between the two drivers, but I think it was okay, it was safe. As we see Imogen right alongside the Alfa Romeo, his front axle right there. Very clean between the two drivers, giving each other plenty of space. Imogen now finds himself up into P3. Very good driving by the drivers, by the three drivers. Very unfortunate to see Commence now demoted down to 4th place, out of the podium positions, but still strong points for Alfa Romeo. After, unfortunately, SMH, his teammate in the other Alfa Romeo, finds himself retired from the race 1 lap after pitting for those wet tyres. Commence still trying as much as he can. Very little ERS for the move on Imogen, but unfortunately, I think Imogen getting much better exits now, with very little chance of Commence trying to catch up. ERS is a huge deal in this race. Unfortunately, as Queens Up now gets a second track limits warning. ERS is a huge deal in the race, especially in the rain, as it is the only huge advantage you have in straight line speed other than your setup to gain a position. So drivers who find themselves now in the last 7 laps of this race with even 40% or more ERS will be a lot, and will be will definitely just be the decider between whether or not they are able to defend a position or take a position, as Imogen now is 0.2 seconds behind Gusta, who is in second place. Gusta with almost no ERS. Could we see Imogen try and make a move down the inside? Unfortunately, he is too far back to even make a move. But this race, this battle, for certain will continue for the laps to come, as we now approach into corners 7 and 8. As we see Shanae almost an entire pit stop ahead of Gusta, ahead of his teammate, who's currently in the midst of a battle trying to defend his podium position, to defend the provisional 1-2 for Alpine in this race. Oh, what a beautiful camera angle. Thank you, Cody's.
Yeah, for once they give us a nice camera.
As we see, I think Queens Up had a bit of a problem there, fortunately.
Interesting.
Spinning slightly, I believe. There, I did see a yellow flag come up temporarily. He has not been... Oh no, he is being blue flagged. Okay, that was the yellow flag. He was slowing down to allow the drivers ahead. That's fine. Okay. For a second there,
Lobster, I don't think he's a vampire. I'm pretty sure he's a...
Thought I lost something there. As we see now, Commence right on the tail, coming through the center S's. Unfortunately, did not have a brilliant exit. And it does not appear as though Commence will be able to make a... As Gusta gets a 3-second time penalty for track limits. Gusta now has potentially put his has put his podium completely at risk and demoting himself down to 4th place.
I love it.
Gusta has to now pull out at least 3 seconds to the car behind him before he can even think about coming out with the most points for the team. Very huge penalty for him, especially considering how close Imogen and Kmet are being able to stay behind the Alpine driver in this wet race. Now again, we wait to see commence. We'll see the Alfa Romeo as he charges battery 50% now, coming across the line to finish their 30th lap, now into the 31st lap. We will see, will he be able to charge up enough ERS? Will he be able to charge up more ERS than Imogen ahead of him and be able to make a move
That's going to be the real.
the
That
fight?
is a good question. That is a good question, though.
Yeah.
Hey, Darkness, you want to put it up poll real quick? Because we have like a little bit of time.
Not really. Poll for what?
Oh, for what?
If you're a dark wizard, or a vampire.
Nah, I'm good. We can leave that. As we see now, Shanae with 22 seconds now, without a doubt, comfortably a pit stop ahead. Though, unfortunately, having the extra pit stop lead does not mean he can take the fastest lap if he doesn't already have it. I can't get to where the pit stop one is. There it is. Fastest lap, Shanae already has it. But in the scenario where he did not have it, in the wet, you cannot improve your time if the fastest lap was set on the Intis or, of course, on any of the slicks, as the wets are the slowest tyre available on the grid, especially, you know, considering the lack of grip you'll have with rain. Water is slippery when wet, shock horror. You won't have grip when you're racing on it. As Imogen now is still within that 1 second gap, but Kement unfortunately finds himself out of the fight, stuck in P4 for the rest of this race.
Water is wet?
I guess.
I mean, seems that way if you're saying that it makes you lose grip. I don't know.
So we see slightly behind, we've got JP, who does unfortunately have the 3 second time penalty. So on track, even if he does get ahead of his teammate, he will still be demoted down back to 6th place. But will we see a battle between the two McLaren drivers, or will we see team orders to back off and not to fight or risk the loss of points in this race? It'll be interesting to see if they do fight. I would love to see another fight between the two McLaren drivers. We did see them have a bit of a collision coming into the first corner at Azerbaijan, our first round of Season 3 here at Phoenix Simsport. Of course, Maverick in that interview claims that his teammate turned into him, and JP claiming that Maverick thought that you know, he deserves the win, or he deserves the position, because after all, he is the team principal, something along those lines. But still, a feisty rivalry between the two teammates. Always a good laugh to have an interview with them. Be interesting to see as they approach. Imogen now 0.2 seconds behind, coming down the second ERS straight, coming towards into turn 4. Unfortunately, he is not close enough just yet to take the position on track. Though after the penalties are applied, Imogen will be promoted to 2nd place. A stellar drive by Gusta. Still 3 laps to go. Still plenty to happen in this race. Still plenty. Imogen almost hitting the gearbox there of the driver ahead of him, of Gusta. As we see JP coming into the 2nd sector, still 0.7 behind his teammate Maverick. JP finds himself with 40% ERS, Maverick with only 30%. Will we see a move from JP before the end of the race, or have they already received their own team orders, remain in positions? Though Maverick is cutting that time, he is now down to 19 seconds to commence ahead of him. As we see, oh no, I've missed it again. Imogen goes for a move down the inside, Beautiful move. It looked very clean between the pair of drivers. Imogen now finds himself up into second place, but Gusta, what is this camera angle? I want to see the drivers.
spins.
Finds himself around the outside. Imogen spins. Imogen has lost the position.
Down the curb.
Unfortunately, from hitting the curb. Thank you, Joe. I did not see that. With now 2 laps remaining, well, 1.5 laps remaining, will Gusta keep his second place without 3-second time penalty, or will we see Imogen being able to recover those tyres from the spin and recover those tyres and fight for third place? Has he got on front wing? Oh,
He's
no.
missing an entire front wing.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
Oh, I did not see that. When did
Imogen
that
has
happen?
lost his front wing after an incident with Gusta. This will secure Gusta's position, assuming he keeps it steady, in second place. Imogen now finds himself without a front wing, with one lap and 1 sector to go, with no front wing. Unfortunately, now he has to make the decision: is he just going to dive into the pits, or really go out and continue driving without the front wing? He's staying out. Understandably so. He will lose a lot more positions if he pits in for a fresh wing, especially with now 1 lap.
How long
sorry,
is
2 laps remaining.
on average?
As we have a McLaren spin of JP. JP has spun, unfortunately, and finds himself off on the grass. Are we going to have...
Is this maybe kind of where he got a corner cut off of it, you know?
JP will keep his 6th place. Zoltz, unfortunately, is not close enough behind JP to promote himself by 1 place. But JP, for the second time this race, we find himself off the track. First time we find himself grabbing himself I'm saying himself a lot, but grabbing a 10-second penalty for corner cutting. To be interesting to see. Unfortunately, Kevin Sadface is in the grass as well with his green car. I know your car is green, Kevin. Doesn't mean you get to sit and play at the grass. You got to finish the race, mate. Then you can do some donuts in the grass. I look forward to seeing some donuts. If only you could do donuts after the finish line, but yeah, no, the game just says no to that.
I wish. I mean, it would be nice. I think that,
as results now,
you could maybe turn it on and off, one cooldown lap, and then you can use donuts. But, you know, I guess you can also just do you know what would also be nice is if. So you know how the races are set at 3 laps, 5 laps, 25. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You can just set hey, can I do up to the max amount of laps? Whatever, right?
Max laps,
so
100%.
One. Well, yeah, 100%. But you know what I mean? It's not set. You do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Individually. Let's say you set it for 37 laps,
yeah,
right?
No, I wouldn't say that would be
so
great.
The race is actually still 36 laps. It's just 1 lap is for cooldowns and donuts.
No one's gonna do that. No, everyone's gonna race for the 36 laps. Now, as we go on board with Shanae now, he's coming towards the line. I should have done a whole lap with him, but I didn't, unfortunately. With 26-second lead to his teammate behind, crossing the line. No surprise victory there, but that is a grand slam for Shanae. Unfortunately, he does lose out on his streak last week at, where were we last week? France. Shanae did receive a time penalty, which demoted him from keeping his streak of grand slams, but he is back on the pace and back on the top step of the podium, with Gusta now crossing the line, completing the top 2 steps now with a Alpine 1-2. Alpine very strong into the end of this first half of the season. Next cross line, Imogen. Commence coming towards the line. Unfortunately, Commence has spun coming towards the line.
Was he trying to do
Can he still make it to the line before Maverick gets there? Maverick is barreling towards the straight, but I think Commence comfortably manages to get his car across the line before Maverick gets anywhere close to him. JP now next across the line after having a very unfortunate spin. A very close battle with his teammate now. Comes towards the line to finish the race in 6th. Still strong points for the McLaren pair. And next across the line, last across the line, sorry, will be Zach. Very good drive indeed by all the drivers. I mean, Shanae, no surprise, he's up there. I'm it's unfortunate that he does lose out on getting the Grand Slam from last week and having a 4-weekend streak, but it is what it is. It happens. It was still a brilliant race, and I am so glad that I got to spectate this race. Exactly, Kevin. One more point. Every point every point counts in this race. It is crucial to the Drivers' Championship.
Season, not race.
What did I say?
You said every point counts in this race. Every point.
Every point does count in this race. I mean, I'm
I
not
do have
wrong,
one-
but I did mean the
Season.
Drivers' Championship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Darkness,
So
I do have
now-
one quick question for you. With the like what was I saying? Shoot, my brain just broke. Oh, with that 10-second time penalty that JP got, does that affect his order or no? I don't know if it did or not.
I do not believe it did. As we wait
Okay.
for
It was
our
irrelevant.
winners,
All right.
our race winners, we
That's-
do have Imogen in the waiting room. Let's get Imogen in here. Imogen, that was a impressive drive. You find yourself now up into P3. It was very unfortunate to see that you had a spin, didn't you, during your tussle with Gusta for P2 there. Very unfortunate to see. But how's the race for you, anyways? It seemed like a very strong race for you.
Yeah, it was pretty hard to be honest, since I didn't have a setup. So I just chose the dry time trial world record, which wasn't a good idea because I had like 20, 30 kph more top speed, but I had like no grip in the corners. So it was pretty tough staying on to these two guys, but in the end, I still could have gone P3 if I wasn't greedy, because even though I had like a pretty secure P3, I mean P2, because he had like 3 seconds ahead, I think. But I wanted to do it on track. Yeah, and that was probably my biggest mistake today.
Still impressive drive nonetheless. Still great points for Ferrari as well. But yeah, it's the rain. It is unpredictable. I mean,
Yeah.
I think every driver, I saw JP Maverick as well having a bit of trouble in the rain, but still very good points indeed. Thank you. Let's get
Yep,
our
thanks.
race winners in here. We got Shanae up on the top step podium. Unfortunately, you did lose out on your I can't speak the words today. You did lose out on the Grand Slam row streak from last weekend, but you're back on it. Grand Slam today. How was the race for you?
The race was nice. Like first half of the race, I was just pulling away. But in the second half, I had massive fuel issues because I underfueled the car a lot.
But
So
how
I had
much
to
did you
save,
underfuel?
I had to save like a lap of fuel. So I was coasting for like, I was lifting 300 meters before the corner for the last 15 laps. So yeah, I managed to hold the gap. Gustav was fighting a lot. I saw. So yeah,
Very strong. Yeah, no, I know that stress of underfueling the car and then having to manage to try and get to the end. I unfortunately did that to myself as well during the T3 race yesterday. But still, a very good drive indeed from you. Another Grand Slam under your belt. I think you're the first driver, I believe, in Phoenix to actually have 3 Grand Slams under the belt. I'll have to confirm that with Maverick, but that's still an impressive feat, so well done.
Snatch could beat me. Snatch is the goat.
Yeah, Snatch could beat you. There are still 4 weeks left of the season, but we do go on to a season break next week. Thank you, Sinead. Let's get your teammate in here. Gusta, that was a very strong drive by you. I mean, you secured that front row lockout during qualifying, and then you managed to secure that second step of the podium. And that 3-second time penalty, honestly, was very close to the wire. How was that race for you? How are you feeling?
Hello everyone. My qualifying was pretty good. I did not lose too much to my teammate. Good job for him for qualifying and race. He's got an amazing pace, but for me it's a lot of work to do. In the race I've got very low wings and I was sliding in every corner, but at the straights I was faster than my rivals, and yeah, I managed to take the P2, 1-2 for the Alpine, so it's a very good result for us.
Very good indeed. That was very tough. I mean, I saw you get the 3-second time penalty with Imogen right on your tail, and I thought that was it. I thought that was the end of getting a podium and getting a 1-2 for Alpine.
Yeah, I saw I've got a 3 seconds time penalty, so I decided to maybe fight with the Ferrari, and maybe in the fight he will get, I don't know, maybe another 3 seconds. So I will have some breathing space, and when we are fighting, he got onto the curb and crashed into the wall. But yeah, very good result for him anyway, and a good race for us.
Perfect. Thank you very much. It was a very good race indeed. A very strong Alpine 1-2, so big points for the Constructors' Championship. Thank you. And I think that will now conclude the end of this stream for Tier 1. Thank you everyone for joining. This was the Tier 1 stream at Phoenix Sim Sport. We will have a break now. We do have our season break next week, so we will have some open lobbies going on throughout the Discord. Some will be streamed, some will not be, so be sure to join the Discord server and join in if you are around. I am Darkness. Thank you for joining with me. I had my co-commentators, Joe, WS, and Ollie, and we also cannot forget the legendary one and only Kevin Sadface. So thank you for joining, and we will see you at some point during this week during our various open lobbies for our season break.